the Spring Boot application, there will be three layers. One is a controller, second one is service, and third one is repository layer. Whenever the user interact with the application, the starting point of the starting point is the controller layer. Here the user sends the request to the application and it gets the response from the controller layer. Whenever the user sends the request to the controller layer communicates with the service layer for the data processing. Uh, the processing will be done in service layer, and the processed data is passed to the controller layer, and from controller layer the user will get the processed data. In between, if there is a need of database to save or retrieve the saved data, then the service layer communicates with the repository layer. Here we need to pass data from one layer to the another layer for processing. Here we can use one data object to transfer from one service layer to the one layer to another layer, maintaining one object to handle data in each layer is not a good practice. For that, one of the best practices is using POJO classes to communicate with controller layer. And DTO objects, data transfer objects, to communicate with service layer, and data access objects to communicate with the repository layer. That means here, whenever the controller calls the methods of a service layer, it will pass POJO. It will since the controller is communicating with the service layer, it has to send a DTO object to the service layer. If the service layer needs any database needs to interact with the database, then it should pass DAO object to the repository layer. Now the repository layer should return DTO to service layer. Now the service layer will process this DTO, and the service layer should send the response back to the controller via POJO object. In this way, the communication should happen between the different layers of an application. And another thing is, while one layer communicating with another layer, the communication should done through interfaces only. Here, if the controller wants to communicate with service layer, it should call the methods it should call the methods of an interface rather than calling the methods of the implementation class it directly. So now here we have multiple classes like Pojo, TTO and DAO like this, and have many files related to controller, service and repository. If we maintain all these files under one package, then it will become messy, the developer himself will not understand which file is related to which class, or which file is for what purpose. Now for that we need to maintain these files in a clear packages. So now I will take one of my existing project and manage the files according to a packaging. Here in my Eclipse, I am selecting the first app. In this, I have two packages. One is .class com.mycompany.firstapp.classes, and the another one is a controller package. Here I have two Java classes, payment and payment request. In controller, as the initial application, here in controller, I I received the payment request object through post mapping, and I have processed the data in the controller itself and returned the payment object. It is not a good practice because the processing logic should be kept in a service layer only. Now I will refactor the files according to that standard. For that I am creating packages for now I am creating package for Pojo classes, another package for TTOs. Since in this project we don't have any database interaction, I am creating TTO Pojo packages. Another package for I will, I will place all the methods in these service methods in the service interface and implement them, and the implementation classes will be kept in service dot impl. Now in DTO I will create a class payment say payment DTO. In this payment DTO I will create this object and I will create these fields. I will use the payment method separate methods. So similarly I will create a Pojo class. Now if you look the controller. Here I have created payment. For that, I will create a method in I will create a method in service.interfaces. In this interface, I will create a method. Here initially I taking void as a return type for this method, and the service layer should accept BTOs. Control shift word to organize the reports. Now in service implementation, I will create a class payment service implementation. Now it overrides the method create payment. Now just to go to payment controller and copy this code. First of all, let us check the working of the application without creating packages. I'll stop the service. Right click, run as manual CMD. Here it is. V1 slash payments and payment request object. Here I'm using the endpoint and passing the object amount invented of currency INR, and I'm sending. Here payment is created. Now I'm sending another payment for 300. I'm sending request, and now here it is created another payment for 300 rupees. Now I will transfer these payment creation logic to the service layer. I'm just copying the code in payment service implementation and paste the code here. Is a request. I will rename the object to request. It now needs it is showing error because we have not initialized, we have not created objects for payment data and ID creator. I will copy these fields and paste them. And in showing Okay, now I will change the written type of the method to response entity. That's why I initially created the method with the void return type. Now again it is showing some errors. Log is not required. For that, import SLF fortune control shift O is important. And we have to annotate the service implementation class with @service annotation. Even showing some errors. This method must return up. So I will now it is this method belongs to service layer, so it accepts the DTO. But in response, we need to send data back to the controller layer. For that, we need a payment POJO response in the form of POJO object. For that, we need to convert this payment object to to POJO, and we will have to return the POJO object back to the controller. Now for that, I will use a model mapper to copy fields of payment detail to the payment POJO. For that, we have to install a dependency model mapper dependency from NVN repository here. Click on this and copy the code, and in form.xml paste the dependency in the dependencies tag. Here I already added the dependency to the form.xml. Now we have to now I will make the model mapper as a Spring Bean. For that, I will create another package to store the configuration classes here in packages dot. In this package, I will create a class this class we should annotate this class with the @. Now use the annotation @begin and write the method just to return the object of model mapper. Now in this problem, in the payment service implementation, declare the model mapper object import model mapper. Now Make the constructor injection. Right click, source, generate constructor using fields. Select model mapper, generate, and annotate the model mapper with the create auto wire. Control shift over. Now here create response object. Here in this method, here I'm creating a object for payment DTO and assigning a model mapper dot map payment this payment object, and I am setting the class payment pojo dot class. Now this this method will return a payment pojo object which contains the values of this payment object. Now I will return a response. Maybe check it. Type in special project. From payment controller, copy the return statement. Now let us have a look if it is working or not. But here I do first payment as amount 100 and currency INR. Okay, it is created. So sorry, I have not edited this code and we will use this code. First of all, here from controller, I need to send a DTO to the service layer and accept the Mojo from the service layer to display to send to the API caller. For that, I'm changing the object to payment DTO. Or it's a request. Now I will convert this request TTO to Pojo. Sorry, I first you have to accept Pojo's. Now convert this Pojo to TTO. For that, we will variable for model mapper. Right click source, generate constructor injection, auto while, control shift O. Now even I'm creating object for parent TTO. And now I'm sending this request to TTO to the service layer. To send data to the service layer, we need to call the corresponding method from the service layer. For that, we need to create a object for payment service. Can I am calling the create method and passing the request to TTO. Okay, I'm sending pen. Okay, now it is successfully working. I don't have currency here. From Postman, I have called v1/payments and passed payment Pojo object. And here the payment Pojo object is converted to payment TTO, and the TTO is passed to payment service. Here payment service